Correct me if I'm wrong, but we may have too low of a view of faith. Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." Faith isn't a passive hope, not a, yeah, sure, I'll believe. But faith is the assurance of our hope, what grounds our hope in Christ, a full trust in Him and in His plans. As C.S. Lewis once said, to have faith in Christ means, of course, trying to do all that He says. There would be no sense in saying you trusted a person if you would not take his advice. Let's say I tell you your house is on fire, and you tell me you believe me and you want to get out. I'll know you're lying if you make no effort to attempt to leave. If you ever had faith in my warning, I would see it in your actions, but your inaction shows your faith and trust in me is dead, non-existent, or gone. But is faith merely believing that God exists and being afraid of Him? No, because as James said, even the demons believe and shudder. So, what is faith? We know that we are saved by faith and not through works. Ephesians 2:8-9 says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing. It is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast." This shows our salvation is completely through faith, and it is not our own merit that saves us. However, this seems to contradict a verse in James that says, "You see that a person is justified by works and not by faith alone." Well, first, let's look at the context. James was tackling the claim that some people have faith while others have works. James' challenge was that they show them their faith apart from their works. There are two things that can't be separated. So we really can't have one without the other. James 2:22 says, "You see that faith was active along with his works, and faith was completed by his works." And going back to the Ephesians passage, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." We are created for good works. Works are the necessary fruit of our faith. As Jesus said, every good tree will produce good fruit, and every bad tree will produce bad fruit. It's a certain thing. Let's see what all of this means. Romans 10:9 says, "Because if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved." This isn't a raising your hand, magic prayer type of faith. But let's break this down. Confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord. This is pledging your allegiance that Christ is the Lord of your life, and He is in control. Believing that God raised him from the dead means He is who He says He is, and that you trust in His plan, in His will, and His path for your life. Put your faith in Christ. Lay down your other allegiances and take up your cross and follow Him. If we keep our eyes and hearts on Him, an abundance of fruit will be sure to follow. May the Lord give you peace.